So what I'm hearing from you there is that there's short-term pain, but not necessarily much change in the longer-term trajectory. And I think where China is so different from, say, Iran or North Korea is just its size and its trajectory. And it seems to me what I'm hearing in your words is almost a sense of inevitability to China's rise and its ability to lead in high-tech areas. Is that right?
I would certainly not call China's rise inevitable. I would certainly not call it a certain fact. In fact, I would say that for the most part, I am fairly pessimistic about China's long-term economic rise. And I think that is mostly the consensus view that when you have all of these headwinds, demography among them, a structural slowdown in real estate because property is just not going to be driving so much more of Chinese economic growth, when you have quite a lot more regulatory decisions driven by so many of these unpredictable political decisions, when you have a state that is much more focused on driving state-owned enterprises at the expense of entrepreneurial firms, I think the broad view is that China is going to have a harder time, and I'm with that broader view. At the same time, when it comes to something like technology, what I would point out is that you can have, I think, broad slowdown in economic growth. You can have structural slowdowns in economic growth. But at the same time, I think that doesn't prevent you from having a flourishing tech sector because these things do not necessarily have to correlate perfectly with the broader economy. That one of these very startling statistics is that China last year became a larger auto exporter than Germany because it has just mastered electric vehicles as well as the broader supply chain involving batteries, when the rest of the world has been mostly flat-footed on this new technology. That a lot of Chinese auto exports are driven by firms, foreign firms like Tesla, but still, I think it has been a quite remarkable achievement that China has set out to really master electric vehicles and arguably has succeeded very well. I would point out that you don't need, a growing population to have an excellent semiconductor or really any other manufacturing sector, that you don't need millions and millions of people on these production lines. Perhaps a few 100,000 people or perhaps a few million people is quite enough. You don't need a growing population to be able to succeed at a lot of these things. And so what I would keep in mind are two things: that certainly it is the case that China's economy is in long-term slowdown. But second, I would say that a lot of technologies can be figured out by an economy that is still growing at 2, 3, 4%. That is still pretty good with a very well educated population now that just has masses of engineers able to work on these sort of things. That structural headwinds to the economy writ large does not have to defeat any particular technology sector.